Welcome to The Explainer. If you've been doom scrolling and feeling anxious about your job, your industry, or just where the entire economy is heading in this new age of AI, well, take a deep breath because you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to completely demystify the relentless fear-mongering around artificial intelligence. We're cutting through the noise and looking at the real hard data driving our economic future, breaking down an incredible analysis of what is actually happening behind the scenes in big tech. Listen to this quote from Elon Musk for a second. AI and robots will replace all jobs. Working will be optional. I mean, wow. That is the exact kind of catastrophizing we hear literally every single day from tech elites about this incoming job apocalypse. It sounds like a complete sci-fi nightmare, right? But the real question we have to ask ourselves here is this narrative actually true? Or is there a completely different, maybe hidden motive behind it all? Okay, let's just dive right into our roadmap for today. First up, we'll cover the AI job apocalypse myth. Second, unmasking the tech saviors. Third, the elite disconnect. Fourth, AI's real global threats. And finally, navigating the new economy. All right, Section 1, the AI job apocalypse myth, data over doom. So, here is the multi-trillion-dollar question. Is there an exogenous meteor coming for the employment market? Like, are we genuinely on the brink of this unprecedented, massive job destruction where nobody goes to work anymore? Let's pivot away from all the hype for a minute and look at what the actual employment data is telling us. There is a massive, stark contrast here between doom and data. The doom narrative insists massive tech layoffs are just completely gutting the workforce. But the data? Well, the U.S. unemployment rate sits at a very normal 4.5%. Youth unemployment, that's at 8.8%, which is actually slightly below its historical average. Plus, new business permits have literally doubled in the last 10 years. And get this, despite all the fears, job listings for coders are actually up 11% year over year. Even demand for radiologists is growing, not shrinking. Why? Because their real value is in diagnosing and creating treatment plans, not just mindlessly scanning images. So, long story short, the data simply does not show an employment meteor. Moving on to Section 2. Unmasking the tech saviors. The why behind the hype. $1 trillion. That's a 1 with 12 zeros. To justify the absolutely crazy astronomical valuations that AI companies have right now, one of two things needs to happen over the next 5 years. Either they need to generate $1 trillion in incremental revenue, which, let's be honest, is incredibly hard since we aren't seeing tons of purely new AI consumer products yet, or they need a massive, devastating destruction in the labor market. They need that destruction to create massive cost savings for their enterprise customers. So to bridge that insane valuation gap, they run what we call the catastrophizing playbook. Step 1, overpromise on the technology to acquire cheap capital and kind of pull the future forward. Step 2, catastrophize. They go out and tell the public the tech is so incredibly powerful it might actually end the world. It makes the technology sound seminal, absolutely critical. Then, step 3, sell secondary shares, cash out at these insane valuations, and retreat to a luxury bunker. Honestly, it's basically a fundraising tactic just dressed up as a public warning. Which brings us to Section 3, the elite disconnect, nihilism, and the 1%. Let's take a real look at the reality for the top 0.1%. They are flying private in Gulfstream 650s, totally bypassing TSA lines. They use concierge medicine for instant world-class healthcare. They literally have private survival bunkers in New Zealand just waiting for them. And get this, just 300 billionaires account for 20% of all political donations. This brilliantly illustrates a complete and total dissociation. The elite are no longer invested in the day-to-day health of America, our failing infrastructure, or inflation, because their extreme wealth completely insulates them from the whole shebang. The absolutely crucial point here is nihilism in tech. We so often treat tech leaders like they're these modern gods who are here to save us. But the source material makes a really strong argument. They do not have our best interests at heart. Their only job is to increase earnings and shareholder value, even if it causes massive societal harm. It's a mindset that prioritizes, say, colonizing Mars or building private bunkers, way over making our current world a more habitable, safe place for everyday people. Section 4. AI's real global threats, loneliness, and market dumps. 42%. 42% of young men aged 18 to 24 have never asked a woman out in person. Never.
The analysis suggests that one of AI's absolute biggest threats isn't, Terminator-style killer robots, it's actually loneliness. AI and algorithms are creating this synthetic, reasonable facsimile of life right on our screens. If you can get synthetic connection, synthetic validation, and entirely frictionless interactions online, you just stop enduring the friction and effort required to build real, messy, beautiful human relationships.
But the threats aren't just social, they are massive on a macroeconomic scale too. Consider something called AI dumping. This is a geopolitical strategy where a foreign adversary, like China for example, could intentionally flood the US market with incredibly cheap open-weight AI models. It's a lot like steel dumping in the past. If they deeply undercut domestic competitors, US companies will eventually abandon their expensive multi-million-dollar AI licenses for the cheaper foreign alternatives. And to put into perspective why that is so dangerous, we have to look at US market exposure. An estimated 40% of the S&P's recent growth is directly or tangentially tied to AI capital expenditure. So if AI dumping actually happens and the massive valuations of domestic AI companies suddenly collapse because companies stop paying for those expensive licenses, well, it could take down that entire 40% slice of the market right along with it, triggering a severe economic recession. Okay, moving to our final section, Section 5, Navigating the New Economy, Actionable Resilience. AI is not going to take your job. Someone who understands AI is going to take your job. It's a cliche at this point, but survival in this new economy absolutely requires adaptation. The source material highly recommends the second screen strategy. Basically, always have a second screen open with an LLM like ChatGPT or Claude, and just constantly practice your AI fluency. The people who figure out how to multiply their own productivity using AI, those are the ones who are going to thrive. So, with the landscape shifting this fast, I know the exact question you're asking right now. So, how do you get rich? In an era of nonstop AI hype, crypto booms, and literal overnight tech billionaires, how does the everyday person build actual, tangible financial security? The answer is incredibly blunt. Slowly. I know, not what you want to hear. But despite all the get-rich-quick hype of the AI boom, true financial security really isn't about picking the one winning stock that's going to go 100x. It's about consistency, and it's about patience. Let's break down the framework for financial resilience. Number 1, find a skill you are good at and work intensely hard at it. 2, automate your savings so you never even see the cash to spend it. Seriously, set it and forget it. 3, invest that money in low-cost index funds. 4, diversify your investments wildly to protect against the unknown. And 5, let the undeniable mathematical power of compound interest take over. Building wealth, real wealth, requires intense discipline over time.
And beyond just the money, what skills are actually going to protect your career? The crucial point here is mastering the ultimate human skills. What can't machines do? Well, they can't endure the emotional pain of rejection. Getting ready to hear no and bouncing back. That is a massive superpower. Machines lack genuine human storytelling, sales, and persuasion. And most importantly, finding a partner, building a family, and pursuing messy, real-world human relationships over synthetic digital ones. These are, hands down, your ultimate competitive advantages.
Now I want to share a really surprising twist from the source analysis. While the tech elite view AI as the absolute greatest innovation ever, the reality view might actually be GLP-1 weight loss drugs. Crazy, right? Why? Because much like jet travel or the internet, AI is going to be absolutely amazing for society as a whole, but the models are converging so fast that it might be a terrible place to invest. No single company will capture all the value. Whereas pharmaceutical innovations like those GLP-1 drugs have clear, massive, capturable economic value right here, right now.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final provocative question. In a world optimizing for synthetic connection, will you choose the messy, painful, but purposeful reality of human relationships? We really don't have to accept the nihilism of the tech elite. The absolute best way to future-proof your life against AI isn't just learning how to prompt a computer. It's investing deeply in your resilience, your finances, and the real human beings around you. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I hope this gives you a much clearer, data-driven perspective on our AI future.